Alright, so now we're going to work on our icons for the donut, both in Illustrator and in Photoshop. I've got this very simple oak leaf icon. It's kind of flat. All the strokes are 1 point by default, so when you normally draw with the pen tool, automatically it goes to 1 unless you change it. We want to change it. We want to create a little bit more visual interest, some variety. So we're going to click the outside, have our shape selected. I've got my stroke, and I'm going to come over to the stroke palette, and I'm going to change that just to 3 or 4. So give myself a little bit of variety to look at. Another thing I want to show you is that with the strokes, you can also make some other changes in this palette. When you have a very acute angle, you get a real sharp point. Sometimes that becomes a problem. So quite often I will change the cap in the corner to the rounded, and then you get more of this kind of look. You can kind of see the difference here. Alright, so we've got our icon, and we're going to select it all, and what we want to do is group that. So we want to Control G, so that when we click on any part of it, we get all of it. Okay, so we're going to click it, copy, and we're going to paste into Photoshop. So now we've pasted our icon into Photoshop. I've put it on the red surface just so that it could be our frosting or whatever color it is. Alright, so we're going to look into some layer effects that we can do. So we're going to click over here to the right of the title of that layer, and it brings up this layer style palette. First thing we're going to do is the bevel and emboss, and I'm going to click contour. I'm going to move that over a little bit. So our bevel and emboss, we can change things with the depth, the size. We can soften the edges, make them more crisp. We want to create more of a three-dimensional look to our icon. You can see by doing bevel, you automatically create a highlight and a shadow side, gives it depth, takes it from being a shape to more of a form. Another thing we're going to do is now we're going to create a drop shadow so that we go back to where I was, to have our icon sit on the surface. So up here we have multiply, and then we've got our color of our shadow. By default it's black. We would rather have a shade of our native color, so we're going to take the eyedropper, click the background, that's represented here, and then we're just going to drop down and create a shade of that color. So that's what we have up here now. So we can change the opacity of that, how much of it we see, how strong we want that. We can change the distance. If we go too far with the distance, we can create the illusion that it's floating. We don't want it to be floating in this case, but that's something that you can do. We're going to change. You can change the spread a little bit. Changes how far out the shadow spreads out, as does the size. It kind of softens as you go higher numbers. Sorry about that. All right, and then another thing to keep in mind is this angle of the light. So you can change the light to hit from whatever angle you want, up, down, all the way around. But the important thing is to make sure you have this use global light box checked, so that your shadows and your contour, your bevel, work in harmony. So you want them to be aligned. You don't want one having a highlight on one side and then casting a shadow in the wrong direction. So this ties it all together, makes it more unified, and there we go. We can increase or decrease the intensity of the shadow. So now we've taken that icon, we've created something that looks more three-dimensional and will enhance the look of the digital donut. Thank you.